Class is in session. So what's the main idea of 2 Samuel? The key to this book is that the entire biblical record in 2 Samuel 7:16, your house and your kingdom shall endure before me forever. Your throne shall be established forever. So this divine promise kind of issued in a new covenant called David's covenant. And it was in that God promised an eternal throne to the house of David. And God actually said, because of David's faith, God did not treat David's descendants as he treated Saul's. Sin would be punished, but David's line would be cut off completely. So David celebrated God's faithfulness in Psalm 89 whenever he said these inspiring words from God. My covenant I will not violate, nor will I alter the utterance of my lips. Once I have sworn by my holiness, I will not lie to David. His descendants shall endure forever, and his throne as the sun before me. It shall be established forever like the moon, and the witness in the sky is faithful. That's Psalm 89, 34 through 37. So God's unconditional promise to David would be fulfilled through the lineage of David, ultimately with Jesus Christ. The covenant also included a continuation of that covenant in saying that the people would always have the land of Israel as their own forever. So that's kind of a rough summary of 2 Samuel. Now for our animal spotlight of today, we're going to be talking about the red fox. So the red fox is found here in Florida. It's very uncommon though. They have several different color phases, best known as red, silver, cross fox. Florida species are typically in the red phase. So if you see them around Florida, they're typically red. The habitat typically is like open, semi-open country with some deep woods, and they are uncommon in most of Florida. They have about 4 to 5 young are born in the den and is often underground dug in a burrow. Now the red fox is one of the world's most widespread mammals and is found in Europe, Asia, North Africa, Australia, and as well as North America. They are some of the most adaptable, optimistic omnivores, and they would eat just about anything from grasshoppers to grapes. They are said to be new to Florida, however, but they've said they're always found in the Florida Panhandle. So now for our financial portion of this show, we're going to be talking about Roth IRA. I like to call this the secret weapon for building wealth. A Roth IRA is a special individual retirement account where you pay your taxes initially and never again. This is phenomenal as you're able to grow your wealth and not pay taxes on it. Now, if you pull this money out of that account before you're 59 and a half, you will have to pay a little bit of a penalty charge. Again, it's not much, especially if you're pulling out a large portion. Now, there's a catch with this. You are only able to you're only able to deposit $6,000 per year. If you're older than 50, you can put in $7,000 a year. That's the catch with these. So you are limited in how much you can put in. You're also limited in who can contribute to these. If you make more, granted this is 2022's statement. If you make more than $144,000 a year, you cannot contribute to a Roth IRA. Or if you're if you're married, if you both contribute, or if you both make more than $214,000, you're not able to contribute to a Roth IRA. Now, a tip with Roth IRAs, if you're above that pay salary, where if you're above 144, or you are above, if you're a married couple, 214. If you're above that, you are able to write off certain things on your taxes to lower your income. Let's say if you give your tithe, if you give to a nonprofit, if you give donations to a charity, or if you contribute to an IRA, not a Roth IRA, but you can write that off and bring you back down below that level so you're able to contribute. I think it's vitally important that you do contribute to a Roth because it's one of the best ways to grow wealth without paying taxes. Another thing, this is a special tip. You can also open a brokerage Roth IRA and trade your stocks within your Roth. That way you don't have to pay taxes on any stocks you sell or trade. This is huge, especially if you're dealing with a lot of money. That way you can get around the taxes and kind of help you build wealth and not having to pay the capital gains tax. And most of the time within your Roth IRAs, whichever company you decide to go with, you get really good returns on these. I think the last 7-8 years, I've gotten at least 10% on a return of investment. That's huge. And on average, you typically get that. That's much better than a savings account or a checking account where you're getting 0.25%. So I highly encourage each and every single person, if you have the money to do so, to invest in a Roth IRA so that you're able to build your portfolio massively. So on today's History Spotlight, we're going to be talking about America capitals. Did you know that the first capital of America was actually in New York City? And this was here that George Washington took the oath to become the first president of the United States. He also, under his first term, was really tasked with trying to find a permanent house or permanent place for the capital of the United States. It was tossed around a few different places, and they actually decided on going with Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1791. It only stayed in this location for about 10 years before it was moved to now what we call Washington, D.C., where the capital currently resides. And it was actually officially labeled the capital of the United States in December of 1800 on the dot. So that's a little history about America's capital. And lastly, an inspiring quote from Helen Keller: "Never bend your head, always hold it high. Look the world straight in the eye." Hope you learned something today. See you back soon.